This kid from Britain who wanted to be a YouTuber seems pretty normal, but the case we're going to get into today is shocking to say the least.
50 subscribers, even though I'm nearly at 80, 50 is just a better, like it's a rounder number.
His content mainly consisted of him on a trampoline doing flips, but he regularly uploaded and was consistent in the fact that he wanted subscribers and people to notice him, regularly saying let's push to 50 or 100 subscribers before his channel was deleted for what we're going to get into today. Aaron Thomas Campbell. Looking through his childhood, you can see elements of physical and emotional abuse noted, and also having an alcoholic mother, and he was tested for an attention deficit disorder, ADHD. He had a history of self-harming, and like I said, he was keen on gaming and wished to be a YouTube star. When he was 15, Campbell began to consider doing something excessive such as rape. In 2017, he sent a Facebook message saying he might kill one day for the lifetime experience. He was entered into a rehabilitation program where he was caught starting fires. On the night of the 1st of July 2018, Alicia lay sleeping after watching a Peppa Pig DVD in her room. And Aaron Campbell has had 15 mates over to his large house, and the party has ended at midnight. And a friend later recalled Campbell seemed worried and depressed a short time later. Campbell sent out messages to see if anyone could sell him any cannabis. Getting no response from anyone on text, Campbell hatched a plan to creep into McPhail's residence, the father of the young girl Alicia who was lying in bed, because previously he bought cannabis off him and he was hoping to find some in his house to steal and make off with. In the early hours of the 2nd of July, he walked a short distance and gained easy entry without anyone waking up. But once inside, he glimpsed at Alicia sleeping in her bedroom, and the sight of a vulnerable child clearly triggered the dark urges he had secretly been nursing for some time. As he later bluntly put, "All I thought about was killing her once I saw her."
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Campbell carefully lifted Alicia from her bed and stole her out of the house. He later said she woke up in his arms as he walked by the shoreline, and he comforted her by saying he was a friend of her father. In the moments that followed, he raped and murdered the child, leaving her body on the grounds of a hotel. He was quite satisfied with his murder. Getting up for work around 6 AM, Alicia's grandfather discovered her bed empty and the police were called immediately. Her mother, Tony, noticed missed messages from Campbell the night before and tried to call him back. He replied with laughing emojis, telling her it didn't matter. When she told him Alicia was missing, he sent her a message saying, "I'm sure she's not gone too far." It wasn't long before Alicia's body was found and a massive manhunt for the killer was underway. The breakthrough came thanks to Campbell's own mother, who inspected footage from CCTV cameras she placed outside her home. She was hoping they might have picked up something suspicious in the night. To her surprise, she saw her own son leaving and entering the house in the early hours of the morning. His mother notified the police in order to eliminate Campbell from suspicion. Instead, the boy was soon arrested on suspicion of murder, with DNA evidence connecting him to Alicia. What followed was a grueling trial, during which the calm Campbell outlandishly claimed Tony, the mother, was the killer. According to his unlikely version of events, he and Tony met for sex earlier that night, and she later killed Alicia and planted Campbell's semen at the crime scene using the condom from their encounter. The reason? He claims she was jealous over the affection that her boyfriend was given to the daughter rather than her. Unsurprisingly, this didn't sway the court and Aaron Campbell was found guilty of taking that young innocent girl's life.
Aaron Thomas Campbell, you were found guilty of the abduction, rape and murder of Alicia McPhail, a 6-year-old child. Merely stating that fact is horrific enough, but the circumstances surrounding these vile crimes and the manner of their commission have quite rightly aroused revulsion and disbelief that these sorts of things could happen. Alicia had just arrived on Butte to spend a holiday with her father and grandparents and had gone to bed apparently safe in her own room. No doubt she was looking forward to what the next few weeks had in store. Her father and his parents would have enjoyed every minute of it, while her mother and her family would have been counting down the days till they saw her smiling face again. Meanwhile, you attended a party at your own home, consumed alcohol, and then, on your account, to which I will return, went off in search of cannabis.
This is a selfie picture taken just hours before that brutal crime took place. Seems like a normal kid, but so twisted in his mind, he was actually sick. At such a young age, he was only 16 himself.
You went into the house and then her bedroom. You removed her from there and took her to a secluded spot where you violated and murdered her in the most brutal fashion. The details of that were revealed in the evidence, and I do not intend to go over them again. It is difficult to imagine the distress which your family must have suffered, not only when she went missing, but when the awful news came in that she had been found dead. That distress can only have been intensified, if that was possible, by their finding out the extent of what you did to her, not only in the weeks and months immediately afterwards, but in the course of the trial. I have read statements by her parents and grandparents in which they have tried to express their loss and the emptiness which greets them every day. Just as I know that no sentence which I can pass will alleviate their anguish, so I know that mere words are poor reflections of it. The effect on the island community was profound. Many of them rallied round to help in the search, and the effect on those who saw Alicia in the woods will be long-lasting.
Speaking in a BBC documentary, the police said that their team come back and it took a massive toll on their staff. It was my team that investigated the Alicia case, and the officers that were working on it, they were exposed to seeing some horrendous things. When my colleagues come back from the island, some of them just looked ill and they looked physically traumatized. I mean, Alicia's body was found in the woods with 117 different injuries, and that's just a 6-year-old innocent girl.
I have never before seen a police officer almost break down in the witness box, so affected was he by the sight. The contrast between them and you could not be more vivid. Your attitude was clearly demonstrated by the evidence that you posted an image of yourself in a mirror while making a joke that you had found where the murderer was hiding. The arrogance and callousness of that is breathtaking. Thanks to the dedication of the police and forensic scientists, ably assisted by members of the public, such as those who came forward when they found articles of your clothing on the shore, you were eventually brought to justice. Despite the overwhelming evidence against you, you did not plead guilty but elected to go to trial. That was your right, and I do not increase your sentence because of it. However, it is symptomatic of your staggering lack of remorse. Not once during the trial did I detect a flicker of emotion from you, and that was also the experience of the professionals who interviewed you for the purposes of the reports, to which I will turn shortly. Your defence was one of incrimination of a young woman, Toni Louise McLaughlin, and you gave evidence in support of it. It was a cruel travesty of the truth, which was understandably reported widely in the media, and left her open to suspicion at the very least, and quite possibly hatred, all of which was due to your perverted machinations. I am very grateful to Mr McConaughey, who today made it clear that she was completely innocent. Mr McConaughey has said all that could be said on your behalf, entirely in keeping with the exemplary way the trial was conducted on both sides of the bar. All matters of fact which could reasonably be agreed were agreed, and the issues were well focused and laid before the jury. As I said to the jury after they returned their verdict, counsel do not make up defences, but present the case on the basis of their instructions. It is obvious what your instructions were, and your evidence was entirely in keeping with them, albeit it was a tissue of lies. It does not go too far, therefore, when I say that I was shocked when I saw the contents of the Criminal Justice Social Work Report and the report from Dr McPherson, the consultant forensic clinical psychologist. Each of these reports contains clear admissions by you of your guilt. Not only that, and this is a terrible thing to say of one so young, but they paint a clear picture of a cold, callous, calculating, remorseless and dangerous individual.
In the run-up to being sentenced, Campbell finally admitted the truth to a prison psychologist. His psychotic lack of empathy and remorse was displayed when he admitted he had tried very hard not to laugh during the trial and that he was quite satisfied with the murder.
He records that when you saw Alicia, your reaction, according to you, was as follows, and I quote, "A moment of opportunity. At any other time in life, murder wouldn't have been the conclusion. If I was a year younger, I don't think I would have done it. All I thought about was killing her once I saw her." You told both Dr. McPherson and the social worker in some detail what you did. You said that Alicia was drowsy and became a bit more awake when you went outside. At one point she asked who you were and where you were going. You said you were a friend of her father's and that you were taking her home. You gave her your top because she was cold. I will not go into the horrific and cold-blooded details of what you said you did to her, but you explained that after you murdered Alicia, you threw your blood-stained clothing into the sea, had a shower, and then went back where you left her to retrieve your phone. Dr. McPherson reports that you told him that over the next few days you were totally unconcerned, other than to be mildly amused that the police had not arrested you.
Chilling Google searches for stuff like how did police find DNA convinced officers that the 16-year-old was responsible for Alicia's death.
Two other aspects of his report are worth mentioning. The first is that you told him that at points during the trial it took everything to stop you laughing and you had to zip your mouth. The second is that you volunteered that you were quite satisfied with the murder. According to all of the reports, you are not suffering from any mental health disorder, and indeed you are not suffering from any syndrome or disorder of any kind. On the other hand, you are completely lacking in victim empathy, the social worker noting your cold, calculating manner. The only sentence I can impose on you is detention without limit of time. In addition, you will be subject to the notification provisions of the Sexual Offences Act 2003 for an indefinite period. However, I also have to specify a period which must pass before you can apply for release on parole. Whether you will ever be released will be for others to determine. But as matters stand, a lot of work will have to be done to change you before that could be considered.
Pretty sure I speak for everyone when I say this guy should never ever be released. I can't imagine the amount of work that would need to be done. Imagine if they even try and he comes out and does something like this again. It's just not worth the risk. This guy is showing absolutely no remorse. This wasn't an accident of any kind or something stupid. This was cold, calculated and completely senseless. This level of unpredictability with a person should see that he never comes back into the public again.
The period I select is known as the punishment part of the sentence, and its purpose is to satisfy the requirements of retribution and deterrence. The parole board will deal in due course with the protection of the public. I have taken account of the circumstances of the offences, the contents of the reports, and everything said on your behalf. I am conscious that you are a child. In sentencing children, it has to be borne in mind that they are not yet fully rounded, mature human beings. A child's best interests are a primary consideration, and the desirability of the child's reintegration into society must also be taken into account. However, the weight to be given to the various sentencing considerations will depend on a number of factors, including the age of the child and all the circumstances of the case. The nature of these appalling offences and what I have read in the reports make it clear to me that reintegration and rehabilitation, while these are important considerations, are remote possibilities, and neither your best interests nor anyone else's will be served by a speedy return to the community. Nonetheless, the punishment part will not be as long as it would have been had you been an adult. Your sentence will run from 6 July 2018. You will be detained without limit of time, and I fixed the punishment part at 27 years. That is all.
A short time after he had his sentence cut by 3 years, was knocked off down to 24 years by the appeal judges. I want to finish off this video by saying rest in peace to Alicia, a girl that had her whole life ahead of her, and my thoughts are with her family. If you're new around here, make sure you guys all leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and you guys can follow me over on my Instagram at Fesify for more updates. I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace out.